Hi, David Carr here for WordPress for Toastmasters. This video focuses on adding content to your Toastmasters website. A great welcome message for your home page, plus how to create additional pages throughout the site, or post to the blog with news about your club or a video you want to share with the world, promote other events such as open houses or speechcraft workshops. I'll touch very briefly on how you would go about setting up one of these agenda forms that allow people to sign up for roles or remove themselves from the agenda. But I have other videos that cover that in more detail. Here what I'm emphasizing is using WordPress as a foundation is that it's also used by a lot of publishers like this and this and this and this, publishers, marketing websites. So we can have access to the same thing for our own clubs and districts. And what I've done is I've taken some custom software, some plugins and stylings, themes for WordPress that I created originally for my own club. I've made them freely available to anybody who wants to install them on a WordPress site. And that does require a little bit more technical futzing around. So also there is a free service. If you go to wpfortoastmasters.com, you'll be able to click through to this page. This is Toastmost. So this is my equivalent of the free Toast service, where you can sign up for free for a site, put in your email address, your name, and the beginning of the address that's going to go as part of toastmost.org. You're going to set your time zone, and you're going to show me that you know the slogan for Toastmasters, which is just something to fool the spam robots. And when I click submit, it's going to create a site for me. So this information will also come to me by email. Check your spam folder if you don't see it right away. If we click through here, what we have is a blank welcome page. So this is not terribly sexy. We need to make this better. If we have an existing website, we can copy and paste some content over into this page. And we're also going to want to add photos and other things to make it interesting and welcoming to people. So this actually is a stage where I see a lot of people getting stuck, which is why I think it does deserve a separate video. So we'll click Login here. All right, now I'm back on the home page, but now I'm logged in. I could have also clicked on Member Dashboard to go to the behind the scenes portion of the website. The reason Login brings me back to the public website is there are a number of features such as signing up for events where members log in, but they stay on the public site. So the dashboard is the behind the scenes portion. I could get to it by clicking here where it says Member Dashboard, or up at the top under the name of my club, there are a number of options, and one of them is Dashboard. So this black bar at the top appears when I'm logged into a website. It shows me what I have the right to do, and because I'm an administrator, I can go in and edit my home page. So let's do that now. I'm just going to put in some placeholder text to begin with. And maybe I also want to add an image. So we're basically in a web-based word processor here. So we can go through, we can mark things bold or bold and italic. We can select something and insert a link. So here I would put in, and this now becomes a link. If I want to add an image, I decide where I want my image to go. I'm going to put my cursor there. I'll click Add Media, and it opens up giving me the option to upload files from my computer. I can pick something here. It will upload, and once it's uploaded, I get the option to put in a caption. I also get some options of what size version of that image I want to use. WordPress helpfully actually creates several versions. I can either put in the full size one, or I could do a smaller one. We'll do the full size one to start with. And there she is. Maybe I change my mind and say, well, you know, actually I guess I just need a smaller version of that. So I can change some of these things on the fly. I can go back and change that from full size to medium, and I can decide that I want it to align over to the right. And now we'll see we have a smaller version of the image. It's notched into the right. When I update, we can now go out and view that page. Okay. So again, let's take a minute more to understand where we are here. We have some options even on the front of the site that point us to things that we can do as a logged in member or officer of the club. We can go to our member dashboard. We can also go straight to the member profile. So the member profile, among other things, is where I would put in my name. I can put in some other things about myself. I can add a profile picture. And you can also change your password here. It will try and steer you towards using a long, complex password. You can use a simpler one, but it's going to give you a rating of how easy that would be for some hacker to crack. So if you don't want your website to get hacked, try and make it a reasonably complex password at least. From this backstage area, if we want to go back out to visit the public site, we would go up to the name of our club and select Visit Site. From out front, if we want to get back to the dashboard, again, we can go here. So let's look at some of the important areas to understand on the dashboard. We have a bunch of reports. These are things that are specific to a Toastmasters club. This will become more relevant after you've started organizing your meetings online. But posts is one of the hearts of the site. So WordPress was originally a blogging platform. That's why posts is close to the top. This is where we would create newsy content, and it's going to be listed on the blog index page in reverse chronological order. So the most recent stuff is always going to be at the top. So this is your newsletter content. This is your announcements about new officers, people who've won contests, all that sort of things you would put under posts. So we have the index of existing posts. All that's in there right now is this phony one created when we set up the website, sort of a little placeholder. We can go to add new to create a new one, and there's also categories for creating categories of content. So this would allow people to click through to things that only fit within that category. There's a special one called members only that restricts your posts to only being visible to logged in members. But you could also have a category such as video. So every time you post a video, you check that checkbox on the form, and I'll show you that in a moment. And when people view one video, they can click on that tag or that category to see all the other videos on your site. So posts are sort of the transitory newsy content. We also have pages. So pages are your standard content. Now we have our welcome page, we have a boilerplate page of content about Toastmasters International that I include automatically, just as a way of giving people background. And we have some pages where the member directory will go and where the calendar will go. And we can add additional pages to this over time. We'll show you that as we go through. There is an appearance menu that allows you to customize some things about how your site appears. I'll show you some things about that a little bit later, including the menus on your site, the widgets, which are what appear on the right-hand sidebar on the public site, the background of the page. When I'm logged in as users, I also have access to my user directory, and I can add a new member. I also wanted to mention media. Media is the library of content that you've uploaded to the site. So if I look in here, I'll see that photo that I put up earlier. So this is here in my library where I can use it whenever I want. Add new would bring me to the page for uploading new content. And you notice you can also drag and drop into this area to upload a file. Now usually I do that through the editing screen. I use that add media button and I add things that way. But this is another place where you can come to sort of see the whole catalog of things that you've accumulated for use on your site. Now obviously the things that you see here on the dashboard or on the front of the site when you're logged in, these are going to be different for a new member of the club. You're not going to give a new member of the club rights to edit your home page or to create items for the blog. You're going to give those rights to trusted members of the organization. So I do have it set up so that when you designate who your officers are, they get some editing rights on the site, just by default. But you could also promote other people to give them author rights, which means they can publish their own blogs, or editor rights, which means that they can edit the content of the site. Now suppose we want to add a new page. Again, I can do that at the top here. There is new, I can do new post, new media, new page, new event, new user, or new member, which is a slightly different menu. Or I can go to the dashboard and I can go to pages, add new. So notice this pattern. It's a posts, add new, pages, add new, and we'll also talk later about events, RSVP events, add new. But if I want to add a new page to the site, maybe this is directions, because we're in a tricky location, people have to know exactly where to park. Again, I put in some placeholder content. We might want to have an image of the building, so we could add that to this page. But I'm not going to mess with it right now. I'm going to publish this. All right, we go out to the site. We see that we have a new page, but it's not showing up on the menu yet. So that's actually a separate step. We can go to Customize here, and we get a number of options for different ways that we can customize our site. One of those is menus. We have our primary menu, which mirrors what we see over here. If you want to add a new item, we'll look at content that's been added to the system. Here's directions. So that'll put it down the end of the list. And if we really want it someplace else, maybe we want that to be a little bit more prominent, and we put it up here. And we can see as we're changing that, we get a preview over to the right showing how it's been changed. So directions is now over here. Or if I wanted to be a little bit fancier, I could also, or I can drag it into a different location. I could make it indented under another item. It doesn't really make sense to make directions indented underneath calendar. but still we can see how that would look if that is what we wanted to do. So let's put it back down here. We'll save and publish. And when we close the customizer, we'll see that that is now the default. And there are a lot of other options under Customizer. I mentioned you can change the widgets on the right-hand side. The one you can't change is that one that says Member Access and includes the advertisement. The ad is supposed to pay the bills here. But we can go into our sidebar, and if we don't want some of these items, we don't really think we want people necessarily poking around the archives, I can remove that. Or I could reorder these, or there are a bunch of other custom widgets that I can add. One of these is member posts. Remember I said that there was a way of categorizing posts that would only be viewed by members, so we can add that one to our menu. So I'm going to create a members only test post so that we have content that will show up in that widget. And we go back to visit the site. We should now see that. If we're not logged in, we would see the headline, but if we tried to click through to it, we would just get a prompt saying that we needed to log in. Also, if I don't like this blue background, I could decide to change that. So maybe we want to make that red. I don't know if that's a good idea. Maybe a little bit of red. Pink. Green. Maybe we change it to green for March, for St. Patrick's Day. Save and publish. And we'll now see that this has changed on our site. So there's some things that you can do within this framework to customize the appearance. One of the customization options is Toastmasters branding. So we have this default banner up top, but you actually can change that to one of several others here. So now let's go back and we'll add a blog post. Say we just had our table topics contest. So we're going to make this because I've recorded my table topic contestants. I don't typically upload video directly into the website. I upload it to YouTube so that I can use it a number of different ways. But from YouTube, once the content is published, I can grab just the address of that YouTube video. I paste it into the body of my post. And WordPress is smart enough to automatically add the editor. So I probably would add some text about what people are going to be seeing here. And I want to make this public. So as I mentioned, I might want to have all my videos in one category. So we'll say add new category. Publish this. And we'll see that now out on the website. And notice that also that we're trying to make it as easy as possible for people to share these things out on social media, share them lots of different ways. And we see that we can also get the video to play. One other example I'll share is posting an event to the website. We're going to create a post advertising an upcoming Speechcraft workshop. Rather than posting it to the blog, I'm going to post it to the calendar of events on the website. So the calendar would include our regular meetings, once we get those set up, of things that people can sign up for, all the widgets for generating the agenda and so forth, that's great. But we might also have events that we want to publicize to the general public. A speechcraft workshop, an open house. And we want those to be listed in calendar order rather than reverse chronological order like on the blog. So I could either do new event here or go to the dashboard and go to RSVP events, add new. Once again, I'm going to add some dummy text. And I probably want a picture of my speaker too. So maybe this is the person who's going to be presenting, showing off something about the value of Toastmasters in this abbreviated sample course. Now another thing I might want to have is I went to Toastmasters.org and I got one of these standardized, approved, branded flyers for promoting a speechcraft program. I've customized this by putting in some of my club's details. And so I have this on my computer. I can upload that. Now the difference with a PDF is it doesn't get displayed within the body of the post the same way an image does. But what we would get is a link where people can download that flyer. And it's going to pick up the title based on the file name of the file. I'm going to tweak that a little bit and say insert into post. And we get a link here. So I can say download. So that anybody who wants to print this out and pass it on to a friend can easily do so. One thing I didn't do though, very important, I need to scroll down here. What I'm going to do is put this to the end of the month and choose a time. I could set a duration if I want to show that it's going to be a 2-hour event. I'll update this. We can go out and view it on the site. Oh, boy, that's a lot of copy. Should probably cut that back. So let's do that. We'll shorten the copy here. And actually what I really want to do is not be quite so long-winded. I want to actually collect RSVPs for this event. So we can present a little form for people to fill out. I can customize this form a little bit to decide what information I want to collect. I'll leave that at the defaults for right now. And we'll say update. So we have the RSVP form and we have the blanks for people to fill in their information so that we can follow up with them. They can also invite guests. And if we go to the calendar, in this view we would see this listed down the bottom. And we can also click to see it. So if there were lots of events, that's how we would pick it out from the crowd. One more time, let's go back to the dashboard. You notice that there is this prompt up top. I've been ignoring it all along, but there's a series of prompts directing you on how to set up your site. And this is asking me to set up my meeting schedule and roles. And again, I have other videos that go through this process in more depth. I just want to show you briefly that we actually have the same editor incorporated into this process, but it doesn't look quite the same. We would, to set up our standard meeting schedule, we would do that here. But then when we scan down to the content area, instead of words and images, we see these little placeholders for the different roles in our meeting. And these are sort of like the way it displayed images before and allowed us to click to get options. We can double click here to get options like choosing the number of speakers at a meeting. Again, I'm not going to go through this in great depth, but you could, if you wanted to, add images through this screen, and you'd have an image that showed up in your sign-up form and on your agenda. In general, that's not something I recommend, because this is a special purpose where we're trying to get people engaged in our club. The message that I hope you'll take away from this is that WordPress for Toastmaster capitalizes on a lot of strengths of the core WordPress platform with custom extensions for meeting membership and management. And I hope to see more clubs get beyond the blank page to have something that welcomes people in, is going to bring people into your club and engage the members that you have.